All right. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Huddle Up Sports Podcast, episode 8. Got Hayden with me. Big day, big night last night for LA. We're going to be talking about it here in just a second. We had episode 8 already recorded. We did not get it out, but it kind of worked for the better because then the sports world broke last night and we had talked about Luka in that episode. Maybe we'll drop a couple clips of our Luka talk. It'd be kind of funny. Um, so I think the plan is this is going to be an all NBA episode. So if you're not interested in the NBA and you're here for the football, totally fine. We had an NFL recap recorded for the conference championships. We're just going to re-record that maybe later today or in a couple days, and we'll have that out this week alongside the Super Bowl. So we'll kind of do those two together. But we're gonna lock in 100% on NBA for this episode. So if you're an NBA guy, this is kind of this is the one. So obviously. I mean, if you're here, I'm sure you know of the trade. I think I was just telling Hayden before the podcast, like my dad knew of the trade, and he's not an NBA guy at all. Like he's like a 0 on NBA on the 1 to 10 scale. So him hearing about it means it kind of broke the internet. Luka gets traded to the Lakers in exchange for AD. There's picks and everything within the trade. I don't think we've. Sorry, let me go on silent real quick. I don't think we've seen any sports trade really like this. I know for sure it hasn't happened really in the NFL because I got my NFL down to a science. We've seen NBA moves like stars moving, but not like this. Like this is pretty extraordinary. We've had some big baseball moves too, but again, this is like, I mean, Luka's 25 years old. He is, even the haters of Luka put him as one of the best players in the league. Um, and he's paired with arguably the best player of all time now. And then you bring Anthony Davis, who's, we were just talking about it before the podcast, like a top 10 guy right now. You bring him with Kyrie. I mean, it's pretty fascinating. I mean, I'm still trying to like piece it all together. I mean, there's so many angles to go with this. I went from a 1 of, NBA entertainment on the 1 to 10 scale. I was at like a 1, just kind of like following box scores. And now I'm pretty invested. I mean, there's a lot to dissect with this trade. So, I'll start with you. You're the Lakers guy, big LA guy. I mean, I'll just kind of give you the floor for a little bit. And then I'll counter react, but you go crazy. You go crazy
Yeah.
for a little bit.
First off, I want to thank Rob Pelinka because this dude literally single-handedly changed my life for the better with this move. Like, I'm so thankful. I was not invested, like Huddy was saying, in basketball. Like watching AD and LeBron is cool, but they're both old and there's not really a big attachment to them, especially because they both came over when they're. I mean, I guess AD came over when he was like 25, 26 as well, but
Yeah,
um,
it's similar.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like obviously LeBron came over and like after his 30s. There's not a big attachment. Like obviously I'm a Kobe guy, and I like
hmm
SGA, which is why I like the Thunder a lot. But getting a guy like Luka kind of changes the whole. Uh, I don't know. It just changes everything. I'm not trying to be like totally like on Luka's nuts, but like I
yeah,
am right now at this current moment because it is pretty surreal. But I think realistically, as a Lakers fan, it sucks. Obviously, like we are talking about, AD's a top 10 player for sure. Like whether or not he's 10 is an argument, but he's still a
sure.
top 10 player. But Luka, I think Luka is probably the second best player in the league. You could argue that he's maybe not this season, but I think if you were to do a redraft of the NBA, he'd probably go 1 or 2, probably behind like Wemby or Jokic. But
Yeah, I would put him probably. I mean, he's top three.
Yeah, at the
I
latest,
would probably put him at the three,
yeah, in a
but
redraft.
yeah.
But
Anyway, yeah,
like, yeah, I mean, I think this changes the course. This changes the landscape of Lakers basketball for the at least the next 10 years. And you don't know if maybe he plays till like he's 40, like LeBron is, because he's just white LeBron at this point. Like if you traded LeBron's athleticism for a 3-point shot, that's like what Luka Doncic is to me.
yeah,
And like we were talking about it, Luka's like probably the clutchest player in the NBA right now, just off of like game winners, hitting like the craziest shots in the league. Plus, this is another thing I thought about that was pretty fun. He owns the Suns and the Clippers, dude. He owns Devin Booker and he
it's so
owns Kawhi. Like the Lakers are set. They could just have
yeah.
Luka and a bunch of scrubs like the Mavs did for a few years, and they'd still cook those two teams in their division now. So like that brings me so much happiness. And the fact that it's like the fact that he's 25, dude, is so, I don't want to
Yeah.
cuss. It's so freaking awesome, dude. Like literally my joy is back as a Lakers fan. Like dude, I haven't felt this happy probably since the 2020 title, and I wasn't losing my mind. Like when I got the like I think I told you when got the notification, I was watching Star Wars with my dad, and I got like I looked at it, and I almost passed out, dude. I was like, "There's no way, this is a real notification on my phone," and like everyone keeps saying it, but like it's a nuts trade when the first reaction is this has to be fake. Like you and I both said it, dude.
I thought it was fake, and then I did my digging, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is yeah, this is real."
Like it's so surreal, dude. And like even if they do, like obviously like we're talking about it and we'll get into it in a little bit, but like Lakers probably aren't as good of a team collectively now, but talent wise, they're better. I, I think
Yeah,
not. I mean, for now, but also for the next 10 to 15 years, they're just a better talent collective. Even if they trade LeBron and they get, I don't know who they would get for LeBron, but I mean we can get into that later too. But like, I mean they like changed the course of their franchise, and all they had to do was trade their second best player, which is so insane to say out loud. Like Like people keep digging on the Mavs. Oh, and the Mavs just gave up 91 points and a half, dude. Dude,
no way.
Kyrie, Gafford, and somebody else and Clay
Oh
were all
my
sitting out
god.
today. Or maybe not Clay, it was somebody else. Everyone was joking that they're
Okay,
protesting the trade.
can I interject here really quick,
Yeah.
and then we'll keep on going with this talk. The Cavs shot 22 threes in the first half. They made 16. Made 16 threes in a half. They turned it over once.
I guess Luka wasn't
That is
helping with that.
crazy. They had 24 assists in the half. That's crazy. Yeah, the Mavs are cooked. It was good that Cuban got out, I guess. Anyway, keep
Yeah.
going. Sorry.
But I mean, okay, breaking down just not like the Luka aspect, but the Lakers aspect. Lakers are set for the next 10 years post LeBron. And even if LeBron retired after this year, which doesn't sound like he will, I mean, they have options. So what I read was that they're going to keep LeBron for the rest of the season, which makes perfect sense to me because LeBron loves Luka. Luka obviously loves LeBron. Like they're pretty tight. LeBron always picks Luka for the All-Star game. LeBron has said that Luka's his favorite player and vice versa. I'm
Yep.
sure Luka said the same thing. Like that's like his like that's who he watched growing up. So like
Yeah.
you run through this season, just see where it kind of takes you and see if this duo can work because now LeBron gets to play actually off ball and it's not like the Westbrook experiment where it's somebody who's ball dominant but not capable of creating great offense. Like Luka is the offensive scheme now. Like you could like I was telling Taylor, you could put I mean Jackson Hayes is about to be DeAndre Jordan regenerated, dude.
Yeah.
Like Luka changes
I
every
mean,
center's life.
we hope we see like a little resurgence. I
Yeah.
think I mean, I think Hayes can be solid.
Yeah.
I kind of get some crap for that, but like he's a talent. I think he just, I don't know. I'm not some expert on like
Yeah.
maximizing talent and whatever, but like I think he can do it. Is my point. I think he's a solid enough like he can at least be formidable with Luka and LeBron. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. And especially like we'll get into it, like obviously like with what the Lakers might end up doing beyond this for this season. But even if they don't make a single trade, everyone's like, "Oh, the Lakers just sold their season." The Lakers traded for a guy who carried a, I think they were the 4 seed. He carried a 4 seed with the second best player being Kyrie Irving all the way to the finals on one leg and demolished the Clippers, the Thunder, and the Wolves on the way there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's absurd. He he single-handedly carries his team through the playoffs every single year. And I get that obviously his defense isn't amazing, but I mean, look at Jokic. Jokic's defense isn't amazing either, and I know Lucas isn't on the par of Jokic, but like he's gonna lose weight because that's like the whole thing about it, right? But like I don't buy that for 1 second. He's gonna lose the weight, and he's gonna try a little bit harder on defense, and he's pissed off now.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of angles. We're gonna hit on as many as we can, but just to kind of start on that a little bit, I do think because I've pretty been fairly harsh on Luka. I think just because of the defense, and honestly, I don't think what the Mavs GM said last night was wrong. Like, defense wins championships. We believe AD helps us win now. I mean, he's
Yeah,
not wrong. He's not wrong.
I,
I think AD helps them win now, and I think that gives them interior defense. They put him at the four, like, and we'll hit on the Mavs more later. But I do think Luca. It felt like to me he was never going to shift out of his habits if he stayed in Dallas.
yeah,
You know, like you're just kind of. I don't want to speak for him, but like it didn't seem like he was super invested in. Like he was competitive, but there's a difference between being like competitive and then doing everything that it takes to win and like be a professional and so on and so forth. And he clearly was not doing that in Dallas. While he definitely wanted to win, that's you have two angles there, right? There's doing everything, and then there's just kind of doing it on game day. And I think putting LeBron with Luka and like I don't know what it looks like, but LeBron essentially coaching him up in the professionalism aspect because there's really no matter how you feel about LeBron, it's like LeBron and like Brady in terms of like taking care of your body, longevity, you know, like that's the top tier. And if Luka cares about like the longevity of his career, he's going to listen to LeBron and like that's going to be really really special to watch. And no matter what happens this year for the Lakers, kind of like what you were saying, I mean, they just got a 25-year-old superstar that like post LeBron, I like it seems like you guys are probably going to be taken care of. Like let's say LeBron, which I want to talk about this scenario, but let's say they trade LeBron this year. Like it doesn't matter. Like the Lakers are in good hands. Like they got their guy, they can build around him. Like they're going to be fine. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how Luka develops in that way. I definitely hope I mean, because he's also said he wants to play with LeBron, so I think he's going to be pretty invested. But he's just got to stay healthy, which has obviously not been his strong suit. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
and so this is okay. So this is the part, and I didn't see this until this morning. And I don't know if you've seen this either. Where do you think the Mavs defensively, like their defensive rating out of all the teams? Oh, hold on, I'm getting an update on my computer. Okay. Where do you think the Mavs defense specifically the defensive rating? Where do you think they ranked in the NBA this season?
This season,
La-
I mean, I have no idea, but I'll take a wild guess of like, I mean, with Luca and Kyrie, they had to be like, but they have good interior bigs,
Mhm.
so I think they were probably okay. I'd put them like right in the middle. I would say like 15th is my guess.
Okay. So they were 12th this year,
Okay,
which is
that's
which is
close.
really good. I mean, not
Yeah, it's solid.
really good for having Luka spearhead your team.
Yeah,
Last year after the trade deadline, they were 7th. So like
yeah. And they just got Kyrie last year.
I think
What was the
it was the year
timeline of that?
before last year they got him
Oh, you're right. You're right.
because
Okay.
they missed the playoffs and then they made the finals with him. But like they got
Yep.
Gafford and Washington last deadline.
That's right. Yep. You're right. You're right.
So like I guess the assumption is that AD is going to start with Lively once he's back, but it'll be Gafford for the meantime, which I mean is a pretty solid 1-2 duo at power forward and center. And they still
Yeah.
have, I mean, they got Christie, who I think is a good two-way player to pair with Kyrie. I guess that Christie would be starting, but like, I mean, they have Hardy still, who's like a scoring option off the bench. I just don't know who else they really. Oh, I mean, they have Dinwiddie, Grimes, and
Yep.
then they'll have Lively back. I don't know who plays small forward for them. I'm like totally blanking right now.
Did you say PJ
Oh, PJ
Washington?
Washington. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's like a really good team, and I think this is my theory about it. Is I think now with the Nuggets kind of surging, the Mavs realize that the way to beat the Nuggets, like how the Lakers did in 2020 and how the Wolves did last year, is you need two bigs. And so I think having
Hmm.
Lively and AD is like their solution. Because obviously AD couldn't get it done by himself, and he had good games against Denver, but he also folded multiple times against Denver, whether it was playoffs or the regular season. I get
Yeah.
pairing him with Lively gets you over the hump, I'd say, with the Nuggets. But then it's like, well, you lose your best scoring punch easily, and you're like banking on Kyrie to do so much, and Kyrie never has once been the number one option on a team, and it's been successful. So it's like, okay, is AD the number one option there?
So what I that's interesting. I think
Because you can only improve so much from being the 12th best defense. I mean, obviously they'll be. I would assume that they're going to be top five after the deadline, just because no big is going to be able to score, and like even against the Thunder, like they have Chet
oh,
and
can I interrupt
yeah,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah.
quick? I'm sorry. Because we forgot someone big on the Mavs.
Okay,
Clay.
okay, yeah, but like I'm not too. That's a miss.
It's still,
Yeah,
yeah. All right. Anyway, keep going. Keep going.
that does give them a pretty cool. I mean, it'd be Kyrie, Christie, Clay, AD, and then a combo of either Gafford or
That's a
Lively.
team,
That's a
man. That's a
team.
team.
And like you and I were saying, they'll be competitive this year, and they stack up well against the Thunder. They already beat the Thunder last year, and SGA was the best
Yeah.
player in that series, arguably. So like you now get, I mean, you get a top three defender in the league and a top 15 scorer because AD can score from most levels. I mean, his three's kind of been
Yeah.
cheeks for a while now, but
Yeah.
it,
That's why he wants to play to four to
yeah,
like work on shooting.
but like they can beat. Like I don't think Houston's gonna stand a chance against them. Like Sengun's gonna get eaten alive by that team.
Yeah. We talked about that on the last episode, so we'll kind of butt in on that. We can get to some of those pieces later, but yeah, I mean, Houston is a fun team with a pretty low ceiling for this year, I think.
Yeah,
But in the future we'll see. But I mean, yeah, I think this Dallas team would eat Houston alive.
and like the Nuggets will give them a challenge. The Wolves got worse this offseason, which that trade was I think people forget about that. Like the cat trade was low key nuts too,
Yeah,
which I
it
forgot
just
about
doesn't
until last
seem
night.
because like Cat is like a top 20 guy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a top five guy. It's just different. I think I want to hit on kind of your Mavs points really quick. I think the Lakers won the trade for now, but I also this could be kind of a hot take, but I don't want this. I don't want to slam the door on like the Dallas winning this trade either because on paper this team is pretty solid, and if they win a ring out of it, it's kind of like the Rams situation in the NFL, right? Like if you go all in and you win a championship, then like you pretty much win no matter what. And maybe the Lakers win one with Luka, then we can say like both teams truly won. Like, you know what I mean? But Dallas has a chance to. I don't know if I want to say they're like favorites or anything because I think that's too much praise. But I think we might be able to see Kyrie really flourish at like the number one spot. I think it could work. I think it could work better than people realize to have him be the one. I've always said like Kyrie I think is like the most talented like hooper ever. I mean, he's just got a crazy handle. Like
Yeah.
he's quick. I mean, no one really can do what a Kyrie can. And it hasn't really worked before to have him be the number one, but there's enough weapons in Dallas that like he's the number one with like less pressure. It's not like a LaMelo situation where
Yeah.
it's like LaMelo and then like nobody.
Yeah.
Like there's guys. So I don't know. I think like Dallas fans are pissed, and I feel like I would be too. Like if your star and you have his jersey, like I'm sure there were many Dallas fans that bought Luka jerseys in the last week that thought nothing of it. It didn't even cross their mind like, oh, this guy could be gone within the next 3 years. Like, no way. Like, this is our guy. And then he's just traded. Like that's rough for sure. But I still think there's a lot of hope with on the Dallas side of it. I really do.
I agree to a certain point, but I think if you're comparing it to the Stafford and Goff trade, I don't know which team.
Honestly, I was more going on the side of like they got Ramsey. They like the Rams like got rid of their picks, to go all in and like win pretty much that year,
Yeah,
pretty
okay,
much.
yeah, that's fair. So that would be like the
That's more what
Mavs
I'm.
in this
Yeah,
situation.
like
Okay.
they traded Luca and their future for now they got picks and everything. I get it, but they traded Luca for it's a win now move for them, and that's what they made clear. So then that can be like next year too, but I mean they I guess my point is they're getting a lot of like why would they trade Luca whatever like just don't slam the door on it yet because they could win a championship this year or next year and you would then say that they won the trade.
See, that's the thing though, is I agree with that because obviously like the ring stuff's pretty important in the NBA, but I think if you were to ask Mavs fans, like I even saw people tweeting it and it got a lot of traction and they were saying even if we didn't trade Luca and we kept him and we never won a ring, I would rather have that than win one ring with the team that we have like post Luca deadline. Like I think people
Yeah.
like as a Lakers fan, to interject my own little opinion
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
like Luca is like a generational talent, and watching him play basketball is legitimately nuts because of he's just that good.
Yeah.
Like if you told me I had the option between watching LeBron and AD play for a few more years and them like win a ring, or because here's the okay, I'm probably going to get disagreed with, but I would rather have Luca for the next 10 to 15 years, not knowing what's going to come of it, versus AD and Bron playing for the next few years. And like, even if you threw in a ring with the AD and Bron stuff, I might honestly still take having Luca for the next 10 to 15 years because
Yeah.
I mean, one, you could hypothetically trade LeBron and get back pieces to fill out the roster around Luca. You could still make a trade this season and get a center. Like you could get Jakob Pertl, you could get Miles Turner, you could get Robert Williams, you could get Nick Claxton, or you could get two of those guys. Like if they got Miles Turner and Robert Williams, that's like my dream from here because
Yeah.
now it doesn't matter. Your team's going to be good for the next however many years. You don't need your first round picks anymore. Like they have the 2031 pick still to trade, and they have first round picks not this year because of the pick swap with the Pelicans for the AD trade, but they have their first round pick next
Yeah.
year. They have the first round pick in 2028. They have the first round pick in 2030 and 2031, and then beyond that. So I think all these first round picks are just ammo now. And like,
Yeah, I mean teams are gonna know that at the same time. Like they're still first round picks, but I'm not sure how like invested they'll be in the picks. That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to figure out.
but I mean, but teams will still take like the Brooklyn Nets took 4 or 5 first round picks for Mikal Bridges, and like that team's gonna be together for a good chunk of time. Like Mikal, Brunson, Hart, Anunoby, Cat. Like that team's gonna stick around for a good duration of those picks. And
Yeah.
then and the Nets still did it just because they're first round picks. Like I expect Palinka after this year is going to be nuts because I think that LeBron has an opt out after this year.
It's going to be really interesting to see. Like, I wanted to throw this scenario out and see what you thought. Like, do you think there's any possibility they trade LeBron, or is that like a zero?
I don't think that the
Like this season, like in the next 2 weeks or whatever.
no.
Do you think? No, you
Okay,
don't think so?
after this year he has a player option, and then
I think he'd take it.
I think he'll take it too. But hypothetically, I mean, you just don't know when he's going to retire. That's the
Yeah,
part that's kind of like at least for competing now with him. I don't know if there's a better player to pair with Luka than LeBron, just because of what he's going to learn from him is more valuable than him playing with even like if LeBron got traded for Luka and it was Luka and AD on the Lakers, like obviously that would be a better
yeah.
fit.
I thought about that too last night. I was like,
Yeah,
they could have, like, that would have been interesting, but
yeah. Or like if they had traded Kyrie for AD, I thought about that, and Kyrie
mhm.
came here. Oh, okay. Fun little tidbit
Well,
there,
they wanted to get rid of Luca,
which is
but yeah,
over Kyrie is hilarious.
yeah,
But there's two funny tidbits here I just want to throw out there. I read a report this
yeah,
morning, and some guy wrote an article about 2 years ago. It was sometime in 2023, and he was like, how the Lakers can ultimately get Luka Doncic. And he was saying basically gas up Kyrie in all the trade negotiations when they were trying to trade for Kyrie and make the Mavs
yeah,
think that Kyrie is this like crazy asset and downplay the value of Luka so that if a time ever came that they would be able to get Luka for less due to the fact that they thought that they had like they called I think if you look it up it's called like Kyrie Irving Trojan horse, like that's the name of the article.
I've seen this article.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so that's pretty hilarious. But what was the other thing that I read? I forgot the other thing that I was going to bring up. But I don't think that they'll trade LeBron this season. Like they came out and said that they wouldn't trade him, and I think that you have the idea in mind that LeBron's going to stick around for the rest of the year solely to
yeah,
teach Luka stuff and like exponentially grow his basketball knowledge. Like, I mean, Luka's already, I think the top three IQs in the league, LeBron, Luka, Jokic, those are the top three indisputable basketball. I mean, you could throw like CP3
sure.
up there, but like he's,
And that's why I think from a basketball standpoint, like I was talking to some coworkers last night, and I think a couple of them were not bought in on the Luca LeBron like sharing the court with high usage, which I totally get. But they're very. It's not just like Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. It's like you have two extremely high IQ basketball guys. Like there's a reason we were talking about in the episode that we aren't putting up the Luca Jokic tandem. Like how crazy that would be. It's the same. It's the same thing.
yeah,
I mean, and it's real. Like in terms of basketball IQ, it's the same.
yeah,
Like I think I think the really interesting angle here is, I mean, this changes everything from the Lakers' perspective because at least how I saw it was like, yeah, they probably weren't going to win a championship with LeBron and AD. I don't know if Luka LeBron will, but to be determined. We'll see. But LeBron and AD were not at like similar trajectories because LeBron's obviously he's 40 washed king whatever kid from Akron,
The mid from
but
Akron.
mid from Akron, but but like I was kind of thinking maybe AD and LeBron would retire at similar times. Like I don't know how many more years AD's gonna play realistically. I mean we'll see, but
Yeah.
um, the point is like they were kind of on similar paths, right? Now like you have Luka who's 25 with LeBron, and it just changes everything. Like now, like you were saying, maybe LeBron doesn't do a farewell tour with LA if this year doesn't go well. Now I think it will. I'm you know just saying it because it's possible, right? What if it's like a disaster and he's like I want out, and then he does a farewell tour with like Cleveland? I don't know.
No, yeah. I
Because I think it was a slam dunk to me that like before this trade, LeBron was staying in LA. Now it's like, could it go south? And maybe the Lakers just want to pivot because now they have a guy they can pivot to.
yeah.
Before they didn't. They were kind of just there with Braun and AD. Now, well, I mean, you have your young star, so
Yeah. I think I mean realistically, I think the best thing that they could do is ride it out this the rest of the year, soak up as much stuff as possible, and you don't have to necessarily make a trade, like a rash trade for a center, if you're okay with
yeah,
kind of just seeing how this team is. Because I know that it's not the small ball NBA anymore, which kind of sucks, but a team with LeBron, Luka, Reeves, Vando, and DFS, or you could sub in like another guy there. Like that's like a killer small ball lineup. That's
yeah,
like you got two really good wing defenders, three guys who can score at every level, and then two of the three highest basketball IQs in the world.
yeah,
But like I okay, if I was Rob Pelinka, we'll play this game. If I was Rob Pelinka, I would maximize the window only because I don't know if you're going to get Luka a teammate better than LeBron at any point during Luka's career. I mean, now the Laker Photoshop shit is just like madness. Like we'll probably get Wembanyama at some point, but I think you maximize the window as much as you can right now. And so if you go get Miles Turner and Robert Williams, like if you go get a combination of centers, who's like who would stop them? Because
yeah.
you
I
still
think I
have
think if they get any kind of center, like I think, and we talked about this a little last night, but I think Palinka, if I like again, I'm not one of the fans that thinks like I'm smarter than like a GM, so I don't know how you play this, what they're gonna do. But I would think you're trying to move Reeves for a Miles Turner ASAP.
whoa,
You maybe throw a pick.
it would
I think you have to. I think you got to move Reeves. To get a quality big, yes, for sure. I think. Who would you move?
they
Of just a
if you
pick?
if you can move well, okay, everything has to be like salary equal. And Reeves is such a good deal that I wouldn't move Reeves unless it was for a player that you could pair with Luka post LeBron. Because with the way that the aprons work, they can't take on a third max contract. And specifically, Miles Turner is going to get a new contract after the year because he's a free agent.
But would he get a
No, he
max?
wouldn't get a max, but he would demand a good amount of money. I'm pretty sure. Like, I mean, a max is like 50 to 60 fucking million now. So like, oh, I cussed, my bad. Uh, it's like 50 to 60 million now, and like
Yeah.
Miles Turner being able to shoot, and he's not as good defensively as he was, but like he'll demand a lot of money, and so I don't think that at least if you were to trade for him right now, if they were to say like Austin Reeves for Miles Turner, I wouldn't do that because Reeves is still an extremely good secondary ball handler. You could potentially bring him off the bench if you wanted to.
You just don't need another one with.
You don't, but he's also a really good shooter. Like if if LeBron's
Yeah,
having a bad shooting night and you have to leave it all up to Luka, teams can just double team the crap out of Luka, and then it's like, okay, who's gonna bail him out here? Like there needs to be a guy who can score like that. Plus the Reeves contract is so he's getting 12 million a year, dude.
I think you have to figure out. Maybe it's not Reeves. I just think he's the slam dunk way to get a formidable, like a really high quality big, and they need that if they want like whatever. I don't know what the Lakers want. I don't know what their plan is, which is why I'm like, okay, I'm not in Plinka's shoes. I don't know what their vision is, but if they want to win now, if that's on the board whatsoever, then because I think they can win now if they get a big. I think you have to have a. They already had center problems before they traded AD.
Yeah.
They already had like, but now they traded AD. Now he's gone. You have to get. They have to get someone like in the next 2 weeks.
Well, they only
They
have
should have signed Valanciunas as a free agent in the offseason, and now it's really biting him in the butt because now they have to make a move.
yeah, but like Valanciunas, like I wouldn't have mind Valanciunas with AD, but if Valanciunas is going to be like the center on the team, they're still effed. You know, like there's like he's not going to be
But
able to
it's
do
still, they
much.
just don't have guys.
No, yeah, but like okay, realistically, the guys that I would be willing to trade, you could trade the contracts of Rui and Gabe Vincent, who are making a little bit of money here and there. You could couple one of them with Connect, but if you trade Connect, that's like trading a first rounder. And so,
Yeah, you can't trade. I think I would rather trade Reeves than
okay,
Connect because you don't know the
that's
situation.
terrible.
What
R-
you
They're
okay? We know what Reeves is. I like Reeves, but you got to get a big. You got to get a big, and you can't trade Connect.
why would you trade Connect over Reeves?
He's if you want to play the money game, he's cheaper. It's year one. They're very similar. You don't quite know Connect's ceiling yet. We kind of know. Again, I'm an AR fan, but if you if you're looking to win now, win a championship, and try and go for a championship, you've got to get cheap and like, and yes, I understand AR is cheap, but and like in an ideal scenario, you keep AR. Like, I'm not saying they should like if they have to choose, they shop AR, but if AR is the way to get a big, which I think it is, like a legit big, then I think you have to do it.
Okay,
Like who no, they the notification I got a notification the other day. No one wants Rui. Like no team wants Rui with that contract. So
hold on.
like
Let's look. Okay, because Connect is making like 4 million a year. I would much rather pay the difference in the 8 million between him and AR if it means I get to keep AR's production. Like that's a fact.
yeah, yeah. I think another factor in my like argument too is like we gotta see we'd have to like have offers to compare because obviously a team is more willing to like take on Reeves with less than like Connect would be a package piece. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like Reeves is more valuable. I understand that. But with dealing Reeves, you're giving up less around Reeves. That's really what I'm trying to say. I just think you if in order to kind of keep more guys, you deal Reeves and you get a big. Your lineups then, you know, what? LeBron, Luka, um, you have Vando in there.
Finney
Who am I
Smith.
missing? Yeah, Finney Smith, and then you're big.
Yeah. Well, okay. I just looked.
Yeah.
They can trade Maxi Kleber's contract, which is 11 million. Rui's only on the books for this year or next year, and he's making 17 million, which at this point for a role player is low key a steal. And they could trade. I think Gabe Vincent has just this year, I want to say, left on his contract. When
I just teams just don't want these guys.
I don't know, but
That
I understand that, but it's expiring money eventually. And for a guy like Miles Turner, or like a team like the Nets, like a team like the Nets isn't going to care about an expiring contract like any one of those three guys. And so if they net picks
Yeah.
while eating money, they don't care. Like the Pacers aren't going to be Pacers are trash.
Yeah.
And so if they're not going to re-sign Miles Turner, which it doesn't sound like they are, if they're shopping him, because they have to pay Pascal Siakam, they have to pay Tyrese, they're going to have to pay. I think they paid Nemhard, but like they're going to have to pay other guys outside of Miles Turner, and it doesn't sound like they're going to want to. So like if I'm the Lakers, I offer them Rui Hachimura to match the deal, or a combination of Kleber and somebody else to match. What is Miles Turner's contract this year? Because he can't be making that much money.
I can look really quick while you're going. Um,
He's making 20 million a year. So the Rui contract lines up almost perfectly with that. And if you have to throw in filler, throw in Dalton Connect. I don't care. Dalton Connect's a 23-year-old, 24-year-old rookie. Dalton Connect's almost the same age as Luka. I don't really care about Dalton Connect that much. Sorry. I like the guy, but I don't like
no, for sure, for sure.
that's just if you're
It's hard.
trying to go for this year. If I'm trading AR, I'm thinking bigger picture just because of how good that contract is and for how much production you're getting from him. Realistically, if Miami, depending on what Miami does, because I've heard rumors now that they might take on De'Aaron Fox and then have Fox and Adebayo, like Kentucky 2.0, and then they
Yeah,
trade Jimmy to Minnesota, and then there's like a three-team trade between the Kings, Minnesota. It's like this whole thing. But
yeah,
if the Heat don't want Bam Adebayo anymore, like if you were able to trade LeBron, okay, the two I'm like totally spazzing out. The only two ways that I see it going post this move, if you're trying to go for something big, is if you
yeah,
trade LeBron to the Cavs, and I know this isn't going to happen, but I'm just going to say it. I would trade LeBron for Mobley straight up. I know that the Cavs probably wouldn't, but like if the Lakers threw a first round pick on the,
I don't know. They might.
but
They
like
would get a lot of money out of that deal.
and like that's the thing is like that's one of the moves that I would make, or I would trade Reeves, another big contract. Like if this was after this year and LeBron like just retired after this year, they
Yeah,
could they could trade Rui and Reeves and a first and a second, or a first and a first depending on what. I wouldn't do it for this specific player, but Rui, Reeves, a first and a second for Bam. And then it's like, okay, then you get Luka, an ultimate lob threat, a defender who can guard 1 through 5. Same thing with Mobley. They're different players, but at the same time they're kind of similar. I would much rather have Mobley because he fits Luka's timeline. But like post LeBron, they're gonna have to get a guy who matches like Luka's age within a couple years, and I think that
yeah,
you have to go for a big. I think that's a no-brainer. I don't think like the Kyrie experiment's cool, and like this LeBron thing is going to be like generational to watch because they're
yeah,
so similar with like
yeah,
with their games. But I think in the future, unless you're just going to crowd Luka with 3 and D guys at every single position, I would much rather see them have a second star and then fill out the roster from there versus having like a bunch of filler guys. Only because then there's like some sort of like Batman and Robin part to it versus just leaving everything on Luka, and then you're gonna piss him off like the Mavs did, and then he's gonna get booted from LA.
See, could you make the argument though? Like, I feel like a part of the reason he was pissed at the Mavs was because it wasn't like the help thing. It was just like I feel like they're not a super great organization, and I think there were just issues that he probably had with the way they got talent, whatever. Which I think they did a fine job, but I guess I just feel like Luka's going
Yeah,
to be motivated to win in a Laker uniform, and not many teams can do it
yeah,
like the Lakers. So he has too high of a standard. Luka probably does, but I think I don't think he. I guess my point is I don't think he'll like be freaking out if like it's all on him in 5 years. He's not going to want out of LA. I don't think. Like I think he's the Laker for life at this point.
probably,
Probably.
probably. But like everyone thought AD was a Laker for life,
That's true.
so like I mean you never know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
I think.
oh, you go.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to hit on something really quick. I think you're definitely right about like post Braun. They probably get a second star. It's probably got to be a center. I think you start that clock right now with LeBron still there and see what you can do.
Yeah.
Because the second, like the problem is with their path right now is because I think Luka LeBron's going to work, but
Yeah, people saying that it's like they're not gonna like Paul Pierce is saying it's not gonna work. Shut up, dude.
yeah, Paul Pierce hates
Holy
LeBron,
bot.
so that's why he doesn't think it's going to work
Yeah.
because LeBron owns that fool. Um, I think I think it's gonna work. They just don't really have, which this is like the classic Lakers, like, oh, classic Braun excuse. They just don't have, like, it's just true. They don't really have a great roster. Like in comparison to like what the Thunder are building right now,
Yeah.
like even what the Celtics have, like it's just insane depth. I mean, New York is pretty deep as well. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I think they got to get a guy this year and see what happens. Like before the deadline, try and get a center.
Like
Um,
I think they could
I
get.
think Bam
Oh,
is an interesting one. I'm on board with Bam a
I will
lot.
say he's
I
low-key
think,
kind of washed a little bit this season. Like he hasn't been as good, but I think he's also distracted because of the Jimmy stuff.
yeah. I
But
mean,
like they could.
the perfect, not the perfect, but it's kind of a weird one. And I know they're not going to do it because they just traded their other center. But I wouldn't hate like Gobert.
Okay, you gotta relax. I would hate Gobert,
Why? Because it's a perfect true center.
but he can't catch the ball. Like I'm like not even trying to be like hyperbolic right now. There's literal highlight tapes of people feeding him in the post, whether it be from dump offs or lobs or everything. He
They're
he
not feeding him in the post.
no when he
I don't know.
when he gets fed in the post, he does get fed in the post. There's
Yeah,
literally I'm gonna find the video and I'm gonna send it to you after this podcast. There's a 5 minute highlight tape of him not being able to catch the ball, and I'm like not joking. Like
that's
the
crazy.
one thing that I wouldn't want is a 30-plus-year-old center who can't play offense, who isn't an extreme lob threat, and re- his only real attribute is playing defense. But even then, which team was it that was it the some team exposed him in one of the playoff series? It was the Mavs, dude. The Mavs exposed Rudy Gobert in the playoff series because they had to they
Yeah,
when Gobert would have to play on the perimeter, he couldn't. And so it's like you're
trying
you're
to find
you're
it.
subjecting yourself to a very limited game plan if you have Gobert with Luka. Like you need somebody who's going to be able to come up, screen and roll, which he can do, but he's also a lot older. He's making way too much money for how good he is. And you could
Yeah.
like I would much like in a heartbeat I would rather have Miles Turner just because he can pop out and shoot threes and his defense isn't like
Oh, I agree. I agree. I think
you could get Robert Williams for second round picks from the Blazers probably, and he does the exact same thing as Gobert. He's just injured, but he's
yeah.
more athletic, and he's still really good defensively.
He's smaller too. Isn't Rob Williams like 6'8" ish?
Yeah, but like 6'9", but like he can still play. Like that's I don't really
Yeah,
care
no,
about the height necessarily because I mean Gafford's 6'9" and he plays center.
it's true.
So like
I just think if they really want a shot, like you look at some of the other teams, I mean, like
who would even
you
be
just have a lot of really tall centers that are around right now and are on the contending teams. Like we can just focus on the West. I mean, Michael Bear's still there in Minnesota. I don't know how threatening Minnesota really is, but I mean Jokic obviously, Sengun, even if he can get hot in the playoffs. I don't think the Lakers have a solution for that right now.
oh dude banger idea holy moly. Um, okay, this is just more like Lakers bias, like, oh, the Lakers get everybody, ha ha ha. But like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to trade with the Jazz to get Kessler, but like, Kessler would be interesting only if he cost a first round pick. If the conversation starts with two firsts, peace out.
Yeah.
But okay, the player that
I'd be on board with that for
I
sure.
would rather have Jakob Pertl, just because he's
Then
a
Kessler?
much cheaper option. You wouldn't have to trade as much to get him, and he fits like the right now. And then you could get rid of him once LeBron leaves. But the guy that would be perfect to play with Doncic, and I don't think that their team is going to be willing to trade him because he's young. But the perfect player that I just popped up on my face, dude, Mark Williams from Charlotte.
That is a good one. If they'd be willing to trade him, that'd be a good
I
one.
would trade a first round pick and connect for Mark Williams.
I mean, I'm just looking at like the Lakers roster right now, and they just don't have bigs.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they can figure it out. I'm pretty positive they're gonna make a move and at least get one.
Oh, dude, I'd low key
If you're gonna make a move, this is my thing. I would not care if from the Lakers side, if like this trade doesn't happen and they don't get a center, whatever. Like it's fine. But now the pressure's on because they're bringing in Luka. Like now all eyes are there. Now it feels like you don't want to overpay, but you gotta at least be on the lookout and see what you can do. Because like
hear me out.
all the eyes are going to be on Luka and LeBron. You want to win with those eyes on you, not lose. So, but keep going.
Okay. The other center that they could go get, and this is a major banger idea.
Okay.
An underpaid center currently, and you just referenced the team that he's on not too long ago.
Okay.
Okay, actually I have two now. I'm going to start with the one I would less likely want. If the Magic were really trying to trade Goga, I think is his name, Goga, I'm going to butcher the hell out of that. But like, that's a guy that they should go get because he's relatively young and he's extremely good defensively and he can still catch the ball on offense. But imagine, and this is hilarious to think about. The Wolves traded all those assets for Gobert, and granted, most of them haven't turned out, although they did trade the GOAT Vando in that trade, so shout out Vando.
Let's go. My guy.
Our guy, LFG.
Let's go.
But they traded Gobert for Gobert, and they absorbed another max contract, which is why they had to ship out Cap because they didn't want to pay a third contract with the apron stuff with the new CBA, which, by the way, this is all CJ McCollum's fault. But they got Naz Reid on such a good deal, and Naz Reid's in the year 2 of that deal. So hypothetically, if after next year the Wolves are just dog water and he's like, yeah, I don't want to be here anymore because they're employing Rudy Gobert and they're going to have to, and they're going to pay Ant like 50-60 million a year. Dude, I'd go throw 30 million at Naz Reid to be my starting center.
It's funny because I was kind of scrolling and like I saw Naz Reid and thought about it. I'm all in with that. If they trade him,
or they could sign him. I mean, I don't think teams are going to be willing. Like, this is like the thing with the Dodgers and how they couldn't find a trade partner for Diego Cartaya. I don't know how to say his name. They had a really good prospect that lost his value, and they couldn't trade him immediately, so they dumped him, and then they were able to get like a minor league player for him. Yeah. And then even just recently, they designated Brazier for assignment, who put up a 1.8 ERA in 60-plus innings with the team. So it's like teams aren't going to want to help the Lakers anymore. And so I think a lot of the damage is going to have to be done in free agency. But like next year, if the Wolves are just meddling around, dude, here's a first-round pick. Here's Dalton Connect. Like, Naz Reid is somebody I would trade Austin Reeves for. If it was Austin Reeves...
And that, okay, see... But I don't want to go back to that whole debate, but that's kind of like the picture I was painting.
But he's
trying to paint.
But I think that you would lock him up for longer because Miles Turner's older. Plus, I think Naz Reid is just better at this current moment. I mean, maybe I'm like overrating Naz Reid to another dimension.
Than AR?
No. Than Miles Turner specifically. Like who? Like if
it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
It's close, but it's like. Naz Reid is younger. At the moment, Naz Reid is cheaper. He's under contract for one more year. So, like, if I was trading for him right now, I'd give up Austin Reeves to do that. And
Yeah, I would.
I'd borderline give up Austin Reeves next year to go get the last year of Nas Reed and then sign him long term. Because that seems like the perfect fit to me. Because he's still athletic enough to catch lobs. He's like a 5 tool player in baseball. He can do everything that you need. He was guarding Luka at times in the playoffs, and
Yeah.
he was like sticking in front of Luka. Like he's not a bad defender when he tries to be, and he still has a crazy bag as an offensive player. Like you keep Vando, you keep DFS around Luka like for all times, and you just have two like Doberman pincher kind of players where they just attack everything. You keep like you're gonna have to get an on-ball defender who's like a guard, which is why the Christie part kind of hurts. I'm honestly
Yeah.
surprised the Mavs wanted him. I thought that they were gonna get away with 2 firsts. I would have rather traded 2 firsts and
From
AD than what
Kevin.
they traded.
Yeah.
Like I would have swapped the 2031 first for Max Christie because that's like the perfect player to put next to Luca.
And the Lakers have been like developing him forever too.
Yeah, that
Like I don't know.
that hurt.
He was finally kind of like getting his shot, and then
He was
yeah,
playing well too, and he was on a good deal. He was on like the Austin Reeves deal.
yeah. Um,
But we can transition a little bit off of the Luca part because this is the part that I wanted to ask you about specifically.
yeah, yeah.
So the rumor, well, it's not a rumor, but AD waived his trade kicker, which was like 6 million, right? Did you see this?
Okay, so really quick, I was like in church and I got that. I kind of saw it, but like I didn't really read it and understand it. So okay,
They
kind of go back.
they basically save an extra 6 million this year by AD waiving the trade kicker.
Okay,
So now they have extra.
Dallas has more money.
Yeah, so now Dallas has more money to spend, and the everyone's saying that Dallas isn't done. Like this is a move, like this is a move that allows them to make another move
Yeah,
because they got off of
sure.
Kleber's 11 million, and it kind of cancels out with AD because AD was making about like 10 million more than Doncic. I don't know how the Max Christie numbers kind of play into it, um, but okay. I know who I think the perfect fit would be in Dallas with this team, but I'm curious if there's a player that you could add right now, not named Luka Doncic, to the Mavericks
Yeah.
to make them a team that you would say I'm confident they would beat the Thunder. There, okay, I'd say there's two players.
Is it a player that like is in trade rumors, or are we just like dreaming right now?
Trade
I'm
room,
just curious.
realistic. Like I would say more so. I mean, anything's realistic at this point,
Oh,
but like the players that you've heard rumored, there's a few players that I think would put them over the edge depending on what they gave up because I'm assuming that they would flip the Lakers pick and more picks to get one of these guys. Who would you, out of the guys that you are hearing, put with the Mavs team to put them as the best team in the West to make it out of the West?
so I mean, I think Jimmy Butler would be interesting. I think it'd be. Is that who you're thinking?
He's one of.
Yeah, I think Jimmy Butler would be very interesting. I don't think De'Aaron fits, so I'm kind of
I actually
out
didn't
on
even
that
think about that.
personally. Like, he's just been floated around. I'm just thinking of guys who've been like in
Yeah,
the rumors. Um, Jimmy Butler, I think, would work really well. They just my only hesitation is at that point you've got kind of a lot of big names, and I think it's too many. Like you have Anthony Davis, Kyrie, Clay, Jimmy Butler. I think it's just too much. I think it's too much.
that team would go crazy in 2019.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a fun team,
Yeah,
but and I don't think it would be a bad move. I just think you have Anthony Davis just got traded. He's a big name. He's, out for blood. Okay, you have Kyrie who's like wanted to be a number one option. He's out for blood. You have Clay who, got kind of kicked out of the, Golden State. He's out for blood. And then you have Jimmy Butler who really is out for blood. So you just have a lot of big, I think it's just too much.
that's fair.
Basketball wise, it makes sense. I just think like
I think that team would
personnel.
destroy people.
Yeah, if they would play together as a team, then that almost feels like a Team USA. You know, like someone would have to like take the, Chris Bosh esque kind of like cut on production, which Clay kind of already has in a
You
sense.
could just turn Clay into a spot up guy. I mean, that's kind of what he is, but like, I honestly think Jimmy would take over as the one, and that Kyrie could play a little bit because like last year Kyrie choked in the Celtics finals matchup, and so if he didn't have to be like the clear one, like if he could split time with Jimmy, who's like of the LeBron esque mold of just like,
Yeah.
oh, Raiders are hiring Chip Kelly.
Wait, are you serious right now?
Yeah.
Damn.
Uh,
Damn.
yeah, as the OC. I'm sorry, I had to break that news.
Okay, that's fun. Damn, bro. All right, keep going. Wait, where do you see that?
It's like
My notes are.
I just got locked in on Bleacher.
Uh,
My notifs are locked, bro. I'm telling you.
I mean,
I'm
I
like
go on
you.
Do Not Disturb for a podcast, so that's probably why. Um.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
But okay, the player that I was thinking about that would fit more fundamentally in the team, and there's two players that kind of fit the mold. But if you were to get Levine, I think that changes a lot of stuff. And I think that you would have to get rid of Clay just because I don't think there's enough defense on that starting lineup with Clay, Levine, Davis, Lively, and Kyrie. I think you'd probably have to put
yeah.
Christie in instead of Clay, which I still think is a really, I mean, dude, Kyrie, Levine, Max Christie, AD, and then either Gafford or Lively. Like that's like a good team, dude.
That's I like Levine too
Or
in that team.
or a player that you don't have to commit to beyond this year. Or I mean, I guess you kind of do, but he wouldn't cost as much as Levine, and he fits a little bit better, dude. Brandon Ingram,
I like the BI.
because you
That's even better than like Jimmy to me.
because you get someone who's younger. You don't have to necessarily keep him around for long, but he's also like a future player that you could pair with either one of those guys. Because Kyrie has an opt out after this year, dude. That's that.
I bet.
That's a that's like the part that
Well,
kind of confuses me is like this could all blow up and the Mavs like are first or second round exits. Kyrie wants out and is like, hey, do you save me a spot on the team, LeBron and Luka? And he just comes here because they were trying to recruit him to
that
Dallas,
would be
dude.
nuts. That would be nuts. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, I don't think that's crazy.
I don't think so either.
Oh
Especially
God.
especially because not to like get into this side of sports, but the people who just bought the Mavs are extreme Zionists, and Kyrie's a part of like the Free Palestine like liberation movement. I don't think he wants to
Yeah.
be there politically. Like, and I think that trading Luka just like put it over the edge. Like he likes AD from what I've heard on Twitter and all this stuff. Like they're cool, but like I know that he and LeBron are cooler. Like
Yeah,
that's got
for
to be a
sure.
fact. So like
But well, I don't know if he would want to be the third guy on that theoretical team. I don't. Does he have enough in him to like?
that's the
He
other.
might.
He might.
I'm not saying no.
You would.
I'm not
You'd
sure.
probably win a ring, but then again, the contracts kind of get in the way of it, and it gets kind of muddy with the money because they definitely have to move Reeves. They'd have to move like a lot of the like I think they'd have to move Finney Smith because he's one of the bigger contracts. You'd have to move Hachimura, and you'd have to attach picks to those moves to then get like a center back. But
Yeah.
that was just something I thought about because I read that online and I was like, oh yeah, Kyrie sounds like he's probably gone after this year. But Brandon Ingram
That'd be so bad for Dallas if he just like dipped.
and then AD retires at the end of this contract, like in a couple years.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, dude.
They'd
Um,
be cooked.
but Kyrie, Christie, Ingram, AD, Gafford, or Lively, whichever one of those two. And then you still have
Yeah.
Hardy, Grimes, Dinwiddie, potentially Clay. and then one of the other two centers coming off the bench, and then I would just sell. I would trade.
I mean, they've got so much talent on that roster even now. I
Yeah,
mean, like they're that's what like people are like kind of we I mean we talk I kind of talked about this already, but I think they're just even though it's a little chaotic and like they just traded like arguably the most talented player they've ever had as a Maverick.
yeah,
Like even though they just traded that guy, they still have a pretty high like ceiling here. Like they're not the Wizards, you know?
yeah. Okay,
So,
fun question that I just thought of now.
yeah.
Excluding team need, like just going based off of talent for talent, if AD was 20, like the same age as Luka, like if they were the same age currently right now, we're disregarding need, obviously, because the Lakers kind of lost the one thing that they needed to keep. But who would you
Yeah.
rather have? Like, would you trade Luka for AD if they were the same age? Just straight up.
Like
Disregarding positional limitations. Like if you were in the same position and you had
who
that
would I do
option,
that
like
trade?
it's basically, huh?
Like who would I think is better right now?
No, no, no. Like if AD was 25 years old, like
Yeah.
if it went back in time and he was basically what he was when he got traded to the Lakers,
Yeah.
would you rather have AD or Luka?
I
Like
mean,
specifically as players. Like if you were to build a team around one of them, who would you rather start your team with? The AD that came to the Lakers or this
oh,
very
I
moment?
listen. I don't think this one's very close, but I think you gotta have context. I think it's Luca. You'd rather have 25-year-old Luca.
Okay, I agree.
Now, I only I want to preface though because it depends, right? Like if you're looking to build a team around one guy, if you don't answer Luca, then I don't think you really know ball. Like I don't know. I'm not the biggest Luca fan, but like it's just I mean Luca's just like better, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And like the way he plays is better to build around him. But that changes real quick if you're looking for like a co-star and you're looking to like how do I put this? Like I think like if you let's say it's 25-year-old Luca, right? 25-year-old AD and you have LeBron already on the Lakers, okay? And you have to pick one of them. You're probably picking AD,
Yeah.
right? Now, it's different because we've seen the AD experiment. They won a championship. Again, Luca is now 25, AD is now 31 or whatever. Like it's a little bit of a different scenario, but I think you would rather have AD with LeBron than Luca with. Does that make sense? You get what I'm saying?
I agree. And I guess my point,
It's easier to build with like a big and like a guard slash playmaking forward. It's versus having two of them.
fair, but if the team just had LeBron and you were to send me one of those 25-year-olds, like at the same point in their careers age-wise, like Luka's already lapped him on individual achievements and he's led his team to a finals. And like I've been an
Yeah,
AD guy because like I've seen he dropped like 59 against whoever, like it was like the Thunder or somebody. Like I've seen when skinny AD was on the Pelicans and he was like a total unit and he was just mobbing teams by himself. Like he's like Wemby is like right
yeah.
now. But like
I mean, he was insane.
yeah, I think it just goes to show you how good Luka is at this age. But I would honestly say AD and LeBron are a better pair just because of like having a big and then having a point forward. But like I genuinely think this is going to be like revolutionary basketball, having two of the three biggest or smartest basketball players currently
Yeah,
together. And like we already got a glimpse of it when they had Rondo because Rondo was really smart. when they had,
And it worked
and it
well. Won
worked.
a ring.
Yeah,
So,
and granted they still had AD, but like LeBron, Rondo, and AD is probably the highest basketball IQ that like I think Rondo is probably the highest basketball IQ that LeBron's played with up until this point. Like you can make an argument about like Kyrie or Wade, but I think that they're better basketball players, just not.
Wade was up there for sure.
But
Wade was up there.
I think Rondo's understanding of the game is just like next level. Like he like sees things before they happen. Like he's like point general. Like obviously Wade's
Yeah.
20 times better as a player. But like
Yeah.
basketball IQ wise, Luka I think now is the number one player that he's ever played with. And then now having Redick as their coach, who already has like a good connection with LeBron, I think that's going to open up an offense that's like ungodly. Like I don't.
Oh,
It's going to be nuts.
it's going to be really good. And I would pick AD in the 25-year-old scenario, you know, but like
Yeah.
that's not, I'm not saying that like, you know, it wouldn't be crazy. And it's going to be crazy
Yeah.
with those two. I mean, it's like this trade, and I kind of want to hit on this really quick, and then we'll probably cap the episode just because we're running on time right now. It's good though.
Yeah.
But I wanted to like hit on just like the basketball portion because we've kind of talked about a little bit of both with like Lakers, Mavs, whatever. Like, what do you think? How do you think this changes like the landscape of the NBA right now? Like, are we gonna see like another trade? Is it possible we see another trade? Not to like this extent, but like maybe we see like a shocker before the trade deadline.
I
Is it possible?
I think it was KD. I was watching an interview of his last night because they all found out. I'm sure you saw the reaction, but like KD and Booker were like flipping out on the bench, and they were like,
Yeah.
right? And KD said
Yeah.
after the game, he was like, players are held to a different standard loyalty wise than NBA teams because if an NBA team is able to trade a guy who is seen as untouchable, why should NBA players be loyal to their teams or an organization? Which it makes a lot of sense because
This is what I want to just enter really quick.
yeah,
The NBA, it's like they're not. It's just not like because like we've talked about it. I think we talked about it on that last episode when we were talking about the Rockets. Like the NBA is like a player league. It's really I don't think anyone really cares about like the loyalty. It's just seeing like players. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I
And
also
that kind of goes into it. It's just like
yeah. I think it's
I don't
also
know.
different than football though, because like when you trade a player, the money goes with them versus when you trade a player in the NFL, the money sits on that team that he gets traded from. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of like dead cap hit, whatever the case is, versus in NBA, like the contracts just swap right then and there unless there's like a specified someone's eating money. But
yeah,
my point being is that I think NBA players, if they already weren't like if they were already unloyal and like people were like, oh, like there's too many divas in the league, this like I think changes basketball for like a while now. Like I don't think players are gonna give two Fs about loyalty to a franchise anymore. Like what if Ant is just
yeah,
like Ant got his best friend traded away right before the start of the season and nobody knew about it except for those two
Yeah.
teams. What if Ant's just like F it, dude. I want to go play with Wemby in San Antonio. Make it happen. Like
Yeah.
I just think that there's going to be such a drastic, not a drastic change, but it's going to just be like, well, like especially with the star players. Like obviously Rui Hachimura has no say in his future, but
Yeah.
like a guy like if you know the Cavs don't win it all this year. I mean, not saying that I mean they're a favorite, right? But like
Yeah.
Mobley could just be like, yeah, I don't think this is like, you're paying another guy who plays a similar position to me. Mitchell's getting up there in age and Garland isn't that amazing. I want out, and Mobley's like, I want to go to Houston.
Yeah.
I want to play with Amon and Sengun. Who's going to stop me? Like, there's nothing that,
I feel like we've had that in the NBA before,
but this just
but I know what I
solidifies
know what
it.
you're saying.
This
Yeah.
is like nail in the coffin. Like this, it literally is like there's going to be no loyalty anymore, and you could just get traded like that.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about the NBA is like, and we've seen. I mean, yeah, we just saw the cat trade. Like that was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and
Um,
that just happened 4 months ago. It
yeah,
was I had to look. It was the beginning of October. Like it happened during the preseason.
I think I think we're gonna see another big trade. I don't. It's not gonna be to this extent, obviously, because I don't think he can really like get. I think we're gonna see something crazy on the trade deadline, and I don't know if I want to like give a prediction just to like see if it hits. Throw a
Yeah,
dart and
do it
whatever.
because I have one
I
too.
think. I mean, see, I think the Thunder are gonna try and get someone.
Oh, that's not the team I was expecting you to say.
I think they'll try. I think
Like
they'll
Cam Johnson or
essentially
like
see like this. I think they're gonna be like, okay, we know we're a young team. We know we're really good. We need a guy. Okay. Again, I'm throwing a dart. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. I think they're gonna try.
say it.
I gotta think of who it's gonna be.
He used to play there. That would be the perfect fit. If they want to go all in,
You want them to get PG?
no, take it back
Who are you
further.
thinking? Um, who are you think? Russ?
The big
Who are you
Kahuna.
thinking?
I'm dead serious, dude. Think about it. If they traded for KD, they could trade back 2 or 3 firsts for KD and like a young player like Osman Dang or
No, that could break the internet more than the Luka trade.
like Chet, J-Dub, KD, SGA. Like
Oh, that would be unbelievable.
if they're just gonna load up, or like this is the trade that I want to happen because I think that it would be pretty funny to see. But imagine imagine a 3-team deal, Kings, Heat, Minnesota. Jimmy
Yeah,
goes back to Minnesota to play with Anthony Edwards.
yeah,
The Heat get De'Aaron Fox, and then the Kings get like young guys and picks. So now you have Jimmy Butler and Anthony Edwards together, which is basically the mini version of LeBron and Luka. And then you
yeah.
have De'Aaron Fox playing with what's his face?
Hero.
Hero and Adebayo.
Yeah.
F it, dude. The Kings can trade Malik Monk too to the Heat, and they get the whole big three from Kentucky back. That would be my ideal move. Or
That'd be solid.
Levine to the Warriors, Brandon Ingram to the Mavs. Those are two moves I would like to see. But the crazy one that they brought up yesterday on the ESPN, like I could film this episode for 24 hours. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
The one dude they talked about who would be like a seismic wave like this if traded to the
hmm
right team, and everyone forgot about him, dude. Zion.
I screw Zion, bro.
Nope.
I was a believer. I loved him, bro. He just doesn't like. He doesn't stay healthy, and I mean, it would be sick, but like, where does he go? Like, what? He goes to OKC, and like,
I would I would I would do it.
I just don't know if Zion's actually going to be a winner. I can't like.
But he doesn't have to
The one
be
thing about
if he doesn't have to be like the pressure to be the number one anywhere, like he could arguably be the three with the
yeah,
Thunder, possibly the four, dude. Chet, J Dub, SGA. Which, by the way, J Dub getting the All Star spot. Luka didn't make the All Star team this year, dude.
yeah. Neither did Lamelo. What a shit
Yeah,
show.
like
Yeah.
Luka's gonna be pissed, and people aren't ready for motivated Luka. But imagine Zion goes to like the Heat,
Yeah.
Heat culture. He's gonna be like 200 pounds. They're gonna get him into playing shape, dude. He's gonna look like KD.
Dude, that would be tough. If I would like to see Zion on the Heat. That would be sick. I agree with that.
Or like if the Clippers want to make a bold move, I mean, You know, I mean, they traded everything for Paul George.
They just everything they do, it's like the little brother. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I mean now they're just like this. Yeah,
Or like
I mean now the Lakers have Luka. They got to be sick right now.
their literal owner. They can't escape it, dude.
Dude, okay, I just talked about LaMelo. That's who I want to see traded so badly.
LaMelo to the Lakers after LeBron retires. With Mark
That's gonna
Williams.
be crazy. I just people see hit the shots he puts up, bro. He's in Charlotte with nobody. I think LaMelo is competitive enough that if you put him in a winning situation, I think he would lock in. I really do. He wants to win. He's in Charlotte, man.
I
If you put LaMelo, I like a point guard needy team right now. Let me think. Like a um
Spurs.
yeah, that'd be nasty, low key. LaMelo and Wemby, brother, like that. I don't know if LaMelo would want to go to San Antonio. Doesn't sound like a LaMelo thing, but like, God, it would be tough, man. I just want to see him in because like if can you imagine if LaMelo got drafted to the Warriors like he was supposed to?
That would be
How
rough
good he would be.
as a Lakers
He
fan.
he's still good, but like under Steve Kerr with those boys, oh my, that would have been. But they took Wiseman instead. Nice pick. Yeah.
W pick. But
Um.
I thought the Lakers, out of all the stars in the league, I thought LaMelo was going to come back because obviously from LA. I thought that was the most realistic person that they would get, at, like star wise, just because of the connection there. Plus,
Yeah.
I would like to see the Lakers trade back for Lonzo and keep him as a 3-and-D piece.
That would be. I mean,
They're talking about
you got
Lonzo and Vucevic to the Lakers for like Rui connect to first. I'd do that, and then if you
that
can
would be a really good trade.
get Lonzo at a
Lonzo
really
back
cheap
to
deal.
LA would be tough.
Vucevic is terrible at defense, but like he still is putting the ball in the bucket.
Still a center. Bring the Lakers to center, please.
And then plus
For crying out loud.
Lonzo,
It's good perimeter. Yeah, I know. So you could have LeBron, Luka, LaMelo, Zoe. Come on now.
oh, you're talking about LaMelo too? Sheesh.
Yeah, bring on Jello. LeVar gets his
Yep.
dream.
You could sign
Let's go.
LeVar to play center.
Now we're dreaming too much. That was solid. I felt like that was a solid episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, basketball, NBA basketball, I don't want to say we're like completely back,
Oh, we're so back, dude.
but we're pretty back.
We're so back.
I'm way more motivated to tune into some NBA now.
February 25th, Luka's gonna drop 100 points.
Book it.
Book it.
It's going to be interesting to see all what happens here. I mean, yeah, man. Luka's a Laker. I think we're going to see another big deal. I'm curious to see who it is, but like I'd be willing to bet on that. Like a all-star, a big time, like an all-star starter gets like traded at the trade deadline.
Katie,
And it might be.
I think he's the only one that's feasible.
Yeah.
The Thunder, dude.
Be nuts. But yeah, appreciate you guys. If you made it this far, I think this should be. Hopefully, it'll be one of our bigger episodes. We're gonna get another episode out this week with, like we said in the beginning of the video, we had the conference championship recap for NFL recorded, but with the news last night, we just wanted to get this out. We kind of pivoted from that, threw that episode away. So we're gonna film that this week, and then have that out for the Super Bowl. Have our picks out as well. So, but yeah, we're hitting NBA running now. This is good NBA momentum. It's this whole trade sets us up very well for post football, which was going to be rough, and now it's not as rough. We're locked in. So, appreciate you guys listening. Socials are down below. If you have any questions, any recommendations, critiques, anything, let us know in the comments. And we'll be back in a couple days. So, see y'all.
Peace.
Peace.